A Very Witchy Spelling Bee by George Shannon, illustrated by Mark Fearing. Cordelia loved broccoli, spelling, and snakes. She even liked to spell when she spoke. Mama, please pass, P-A-S-S, the broccoli. She spent so much time studying spelling and practicing spells, her mother had to make her go outside to play. Even then, she played by mixing her spelling with spells. With the zap of an O, her cat, C-A-T, turned into a coat, C-O-A-T, then back to a cat. The zap of a K turned that very same cat into a tack, T-A-C-K. No one ever knew what they'd find in her yard. One day in the park, Cordelia cried, "Look, Mama, look! It's a sign! S-I-G-N, meant for me." "You're so young," said her mother. "Perhaps you should wait." Cordelia shook her head and said, "No, I've studied, I've practiced, I'm ready to win." News quickly spread. Until now, the youngest contestant had been 52. The most recent winner was Beulah Devine, aged 203. When she heard the news, she smirked with delight and a wretched glee. "I've won 13 times, and I will win again. Beating a child will be twice as much fun." On the dark, stormy night of the double spelling bee, the stage was filled with the spellers and things to be spelled. "Remember the rules," cried a pumpkin-shaped witch. Number 1. When your name is called, pull a letter out of the bowl. Number 2. Choose something on stage and spell it. Number 3. Using the letter you picked, cast a spell that transforms what you chose into something new. Number 4. Spell the new word. Opal went first and pulled out an M. With the wave of her wand, she turned ice, I-C-E, into mice, M-I-C-E. Gladys was next, but it didn't go well. When she pulled out a Z, she panicked and ran. Madge got a C and trembled at first, then handily changed a lock, L-O-C-K, into a clock, C-L-O-C-K. Zelda pulled out an S, saw the hoe, and grinned. She transformed that hoe, H-O-E, into a shoe, S-H-O-E. Cordelia stood with her head held high. She walked to the bowl and pulled out an R. Without even a pause, Cordelia turned Zelda's new shoe, S-H-O-E, into a horse, H-O-R-S-E. The crowd oohed and ahed. "I think she could win," said her mother with pride. Beulah was next. She cackled and hissed, "Now it's time for the fun to begin." Her letter was O. She zapped Madge's cat, C-A-T, into a taco, T-A-C-O. The audience gasped. Madge petted her taco and sobbed, "I quit." After that, the witches still left were so nervous they all made mistakes. Poor Helen Jeanette's was the worst of all. She intended to change a stuffed owl into a bowl, but her quivering finger aimed at a pumpkin instead. When a letter spell zaps an object and can't make a new word, that object explodes. By the time all the pumpkin remains had been cleared, there were only 2 spellers left on stage, Cordelia and Beulah Devine. Cordelia took a deep breath and gritted her teeth. "I studied, I practiced, I'm ready to win. She pulled out an L, aimed her spell at a map, M-A-P, and easily had a new lamp, L-A-M-P. Beulah Devine's next letter was P, and things only got worse. With a two-fingered spell, she zapped Cordelia's ears, E-A-R-S, into pears. P-E-A-R-S. The audience hissed. Despite her new pears, Cordelia stood firm. I studied, I practiced, I'm ready to win. She pulled out a W, then gracefully changed a plain ear of corn, C-O-R-N, into a crown, C-R-O-W-N. Beulah snorted and cackled as she picked out a C. Let me think. She glared at Cordelia, and then in a zap, Cordelia's hair, H-A-I-R, turned into a chair, C-H-A-I-R. Now the audience shrieked. She's vile. She's evil. Cordelia's mother jumped up and screamed, She's a jealous old fiend. Beulah sneered at the crowd. I'm a what? The barns fell so quiet nothing was heard but the heartbeat of bats. Never mind, snorted Beulah, turning back to the bowl. Let's get this thing over. I'm ready to win, and I don't want to wait. Cordelia's next letter was R. She nervously looked at the items still left on stage. A sweater, a hanky, a bowl full of slugs. Nothing on stage could be changed with an R. Unless... Beulah cackled again. Is our little Cordelia stuck? Not a bit. I studied. I practiced. I'm ready to win. Cordelia stared deep into Beulah's small eyes and zapped out a spell with a two-footed stomp. Beulah shivered and twitched. She snorted and groaned, and her snarl slowly changed to a large, toothy grin. Snook'em's my pal, Beulah said with a squeal. I quit. You win. Cordelia gasped. Her mother cried, Yes! Every witch, young and old, sat stunned and relieved. Beulah Devine was no longer a fiend, F-I-E-N-D. With one letter, one spell, Cordelia had turned Beulah Devine into a friend, F-R-I-E-N-D. And Cordelia hopped on her broom with that brand new beautiful gold trophy and flew around like the champion witch she was. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.